Hello, this is Soundout here, and welcome back to another Transformers review. Today we're taking a look at the Transformers masterpiece MP24 Star Saber. This is the newest masterpiece release, and is the one I've been anticipating for a while now. And is also the first masterpiece I've bought since MP13 Soundwave. So, this is kind of new for me, to see where Masterpiece has evolved. But, before we spend too much time just looking at him in robot mode, I want to go through this in the proper order. So let's begin with his packaging. So here is Star Saber's box. Now Star Saber is the first masterpiece in the main line to not be directly based on the original Generation 1 animated series, but instead Transformers Victory, one of the Japanese-only sequels. Hence why I ended up importing this guy. I'm not exactly sure if he's going to be coming to America. He is getting released in Australia and Asia, though, so that's pretty nice. But, yeah, an American release does look less likely because he is an obscure character to most Americans. Now, in 2013, there was a Masterpiece Fans' Choice poll, and Star Saber won, which is why he's here. But you can kind of see they include some neat things like, here are the other Star Saber toys, including the Armada Star Saber. Not the Prime Star Saber. But, yeah, so you got the Mega FCF Star Saber, and then the Robot Masters, and the Armada one. You see the design sketch for the original G1 toy, the G1 toy, and the design sketch for the Masterpiece, with this really nice artwork of Star Saber. So that's really cool. And naturally, being a Masterpiece, he also comes with a trading card with that same artwork. And it has his bio, shows the toy, and has stats of 9, 9, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, and 9. So he's basically perfect. So to begin, we need to look at the Brain Master. Now Saber, the main part of Star Saber, is in fact a Brain Master, which means he has one of these little guys. Now the original G1 toy had this guy a little bit larger. He actually formed the face of Saber. In this form, he is a small robot that helps with the transformation. But he is articulated. He's got shoulders and hips, which is pretty neat. And he is kind of cool, and he is animation model accurate this time, so he looks like Star Saber, but without his helmet. So that's pretty neat. He's really cool, but not a whole lot else to him. So here we have Saber, who's the main component of Star Saber in terms of this is the character. The rest of the parts of him are armor. So here is Saber. Now Saber is a jet, which is pretty cool. He's a red jet. Got nice gold chrome and white paint. Looks really, really nice. I'm actually really impressed with the paint job on this guy. Now, what's cool is that Star Saber is two components, Saber and the V-Star, and together they combine to make Star Saber. But this guy is a fully transformable individual robot, which is really, really cool. As you can see, he is quite detailed, but we do have some functionality here. First of all, he does have landing gear. 3 parts of it with rolling wheels, and he actually can roll, which is pretty neat. Other than that, there isn't a whole lot else except for his cockpit, which does open. This time, show accurate-wise, the original G1 toy opened to the side. This one opens to the top. You can take the Brain Master for Saber, put him in a riding position, and you can put him inside the little cockpit and close it up. And now you've got the Brain Master piloting everything. Now, this is where things get interesting for Saber, in that he transforms. So you got landing gear here, here, and here. And to start the transformation, we just remove this front section here. Then you want to take and come to the back here. I'll flip these vents around to these gray pieces. They just flip like that. That is pretty neat. Then you want to fold up the wings. Come around here, you can see we've got kind of a robot going on. You just want to extend his legs out until that far, then adjust them. You can take some heavy ratcheting here just to keep everything in place. So you get that going. Then you can fold down his feet like this. Heck, you could fold the wings this way if you want, but we're just going to leave them this way. Then your camera's not tall enough. Then from up here, you want to come around here, slide the cockpit down, fold the wings back, then bring the arm out and down. It will also detach on this joint like this to come around and connect and bring the hand down. So up, out, and moving, hand. And then lastly, to complete the robot mode transformation, you flip this panel down like this. You see there's a little spot that you might want to fit his Brain Master. You take this guy, he's got a little hole in his back and there's a little tab inside, so you want to push him in, and get him in there and click him into place. This will help with the transformation. So make sure his legs are down and his chest is pegged in the back there. You slide this up, and there's Saber's face, which is really cool how they pulled that off. Lastly, you want to take this piece, fold this down, come around here, clip it to his arm like this, and now you have Saber all transformed. So like I said, Saber is a fully functioning robot, which is pretty neat. First thing I want to talk about is the head sculpt, because the head sculpt is dead on, and it's not gigantic. The original toy had giganticness because the Brain Master actually slid the face in, which was a cool gimmick at the time, but since you're trying to make the anime accurate look, this works much better with the face already being attached to the robot, and the Brain Master just being required to slide it into place. What's super cool is that he actually does have head articulation. It's not 360, but you can get it to go left and right, still on that same mechanism, which is fantastic. So, as you can see, he's got hips, and these hips actually are functional. They don't move out too much. There is a slight outward movement. They have forward hip joint and knees on ratchets. You get a swivel at the knee as well as at the hip, which works pretty well. The ankles here, or the feet, can just kind of pivot forward. His shoulders, you got ratcheted here, which is really nice. They move out. He's got an elbow bend, he's got a bicep swivel, and his hands can open. Neat. So overall, Saber's quite articulated for being a small robot. And he also has some accessories. First of all, you have this blaster rifle, which I'm not sure if it was included with the G1 toy or not. Don't believe it was. But you can get him to hold it like this, so he does have some weaponry behind that shield. Star Saber didn't do a whole lot of fighting in Saber mode, so, you know, stuff happened there. But, in addition to the blaster that clumsily fits in his hand, you also get this piece. And this piece is a shrunk down version of that for Saber size. And then you can have this piece so that you can have the Saber blade at a size that Saber can use as opposed to Star Saber. And once you line this up like that, close it around, now you have actual weaponry that's designed for him going on here, which is really, really cool. And overall, I really like this inclusion. It wasn't with the original toy. I'm not sure if it's done in the series, as I haven't gotten far enough in Victory to know yet. But, as you see, it's great. So here we have the V-Star. Now the V-Star, standing for Victory Star, so we can make Star Saber when he combines it with Saber, is basically just a giant armor pack. It becomes a suit of armor for Saber, but other than that, it doesn't really do a whole lot on its own, aside from having a ton of guns. First of all, these, I guess, could be used as guns. These are definitely cannons, and you can open up these panels here, like this, and he has berets of missiles, so you can have a missile barrage going on here, which is pretty neat, but it's a neat little detail, not really necessary. It's really cool, though. You also do have storage for weapons. First of all, Saber's Saber blade, the smaller one. You can take the blade here and pop it in there, like that, and that's cool. Now this doesn't really have a place to go, per se. You can kind of peg it on here, but that doesn't really work as well. It really should have a better place to go. So what's also neat is you can store the rifle right here, which is pretty cool too. So V-Star basically is there to hold weapons, but it also is here to make Star Saber's full vehicle mode. But before we get there, I do want to say this helmet here looks really, really awkward, so we're just going to remove it. That's actually on this neat little system where you detach it, not by a peg, but just kind of like that. You can fold that away. Now we don't have to look at this helmet, because this helmet really doesn't fit in too well to the design. I think it looks a lot better this way. Now, as you can see, we're going to open this up because Saber here is going to fly in, and we just need to fold up his wings, basically. Fold his wings like that, and he can fly right in and connect into the V-Star. And now you have Star Saber's full vehicle mode, which is pretty cool. I gotta say, I really do like the way this looks. And it looks like a jet with a giant, like, armor pack attached to him. That's basically what Star Saber's robot mode is. So having his vehicle mode like this works perfectly. Of note is the landing gear. The landing gear is hidden here pretty well, actually. I'm quite impressed, even having molded detail underneath the Autobot logos. So you just fold all this up, and then you have a little ship that doesn't stand very well. So you get this, a stand. Pretty neat. And this stand allows you to bring this in like this and clip it on. And now you have Star Saber's vehicle mode flying. It's a neat effect. It brings it up off the ground and actually makes it more of an interesting display piece than just, well, it sitting there in landing gear. This gives it a lot more dynamicness to it, and I really do appreciate that. Especially since this stand becomes the shield of Star Saber, which is really neat, especially how they incorporate that later addition to his arsenal. And I'm quite impressed with this overall. So, his vehicle mode's great. How about Star Saber's robot mode? So now we move on to the transformation. This is going to be the trickiest part of the video as the thing's quite large and it's going to get taller. So there'll be a lot of cuts throughout this, but I'm going to try to make this as simple as possible. First off, let's remove this gun. That'll just be in the way. And we want to replace the helmet because it is necessary for the proper transformation. Now the transformation is pretty show accurate and you could follow along in the show if you're fast enough, but wouldn't recommend it because this is an expensive figure. Now first of all, you want to be able to eject Saber. He needs to leave. Now in order to do this, he is locked in on a sliding spring-loaded mechanism, so there's this button back here. You press and hold that and you pull him out. It does not launch him like a missile, but as you can see, pressing that button moves that. That's going to come in handy later. Then we're going to put V-Star down, and we need to go make him into robot mode. Okay, so here we have Saber. Now we're going to put him off to the side for the moment, because he's not necessary yet, but we will need him soon. So, the V-Star. First off, fold these wings down. They can go either way, but it's best to just put them against the body, like that. Next, we're going to have to open up the panels again. A lot of opening panels in this. Come around here. The feet will fold out into several sections. So 1, 2, and then you pull them down, and then you get 3. So that allows him to have feet to stand on, which is great because, you know, it's hard to stand without feet. So you get him there, and now you're kind of starting to see the way the robot works. So you want to untab the arm from the rest of the body, and you'll notice the legs will want to auto-transform when you do this. So you got everything untabbed here. Now, the legs will fold up like this, which is a great piece of engineering. That way you're not having straight collapsing joints, and it's not too complicated. Then, you want to rotate and bring those to the front. So you got to rotate the thighs. And now you can see what I meant when I said this guy was tall. Alright, so now we're up top, and everything down below is all set. He will do a massive lean on you, but here, all you gotta do is extend and rotate, so that way all the joints are lined up for his arm articulation. So extend, that was already in place, that was weird, okay. So you got that going on. Now, to correct this lean, you just gotta work with the joints here. Now on the back, you want to lift this up and have this tab ready because we need to bring in Saber. So then Saber here, you want to remove his jet cockpit piece and just put it off to the side. Then you want to fold his arms up like this and like that and do these things. And really it's best to go from vehicle mode as long as you have the Brain Master in place. But Here, you don't need to extend the legs, but the legs need to be fully extended. Get all those ratchet detents going, like this. Collapse his legs slightly, so that they're like that. You can see how it all kind of lines up. It's a lot of trial and error, especially with all the ratchet joints the way they are. And now that you have them like that, which looks really cool, you're going to come around here, you're going to hold down that gray button, you're going to place him in, and then push him back into the chest cavity, like that. So now, you have that going on. Fold the panels in to fill that in, fold the wings down. Now, if you want a Star Saber walking around the base without his helmet, you got that, but his head is a little small. So you just come down here, and then line this up, bring down the head, the white piece, then the eyes, fold the antenna up like that, and we're just about done. And to finish this off, you want to release the head from the joint here. And bring this down. Now this piece will slide and connect up here. Should tab in. You want to take this piece. It's going to fold up here. And now we can attach the sword handle, the rifle, and swing them around and see that we have a completed masterpiece Star Saber, more or less. So here is the beautiful masterpiece Star Saber in its completed robot mode. Two things of note. First of all, yes, the base mode from the original toy can be replicated, but it is not officially in the instructions, so I don't want to cover it here. If I had more time, I would, but this thing is already complicated enough. Second of all, I apologize that transformation was not as clean as I would have liked. It is really complicated, especially with all the ratchet joints in this guy, and we'll get into that articulation second. Third of all, wings, they're officially pushed out. I like kind of swinging them back. That looks better, streamlines them a bit, which is really nice. So, Star Saber. This guy is fantastic. First of all that gold chrome, whole 2 bits of it there, look really nice. Everything looks like the animation model, which is the point of the Masterpiece line, and I'm really impressed they pulled it off. This is a tricky design to get solid and sturdy to transform and look like the anime. It looks better than any other Star Saber figure that's ever been made, and I'm really, really impressed with this guy. All the paint's sharp and crisp. He looks absolutely fantastic. This is Star Saber from the series. Actually looks better than the series because they had some wonky animation at times. It's basically like the show come to life, and that's really what Masterpiece should be. Speaking of Masterpiece, let's bring in a couple size comparisons. Here is MP10 Optimus Prime, and here is MP13 Soundwave. So you can kind of see where this guy scales up. I don't have any more recent Masterpiece figures, so this will have to do. Yeah, he towers over the Masterpiece toys. And he's well deserving of that. In his official scaling, he should be bigger than Optimus Prime. He is a smaller robot that went inside a power armor, and now you got this, which is just cool. So he does look a little bit out of place, being taller than everyone, but it's okay. Masterpiece scaling is pretty good, but there's some little hiccups, like Grimlock. But you have a lot of third-party Masterpiece stuff he's definitely going to fit in. Your Masterpiece scaling is not going to get thrown off by this guy, because this guy is supposed to be big. Now, if you're like me and just kind of wanted a Star Saber for the sake of having a Star Saber, then it doesn't really matter now, does it? So, talked about that impressive articulation. Let's take a look. First of all, his head can rotate on the same neck joint as Saber. It can look up. It can look down. His face can slightly vanish. It's got a lot of range. You can have him doing all kinds of poses, and that's really impressive since the Brainmaster's still loaded in there. Shoulders. Ratcheted shoulder joint. You have an elbow that's a hinge, but it's got, like, it's not just a hinge. It actually has plastic there. That's really cool. You also have a soft detented ratchet here, which also has more plastic, so it looks more natural when he's pulling off that kind of pose, which is really nice. You got a rotation here on a ratchet. rotation here on a swivel. You got a swivel wrist. You have finger articulation, as in this finger moves, and then these three move. You get the wrist, and then you also have this detented inward bend, which is for certain poses. That's really nice. Waist articulation. He actually has a waist joint. It moves left and right. Not 360, but I don't blame it. First and neck. He also has a forward ab crunch of sorts. Kind of helps him balance out. Now the tricky part's the legs. First of all, you have these, which swing forward. And then you can see his awesome hip joints in there, which full ratchets inside. And they ratchet outward too, and panel moves. You have a swivel there, you have a swivel at the knee, you have a ratcheted knee. That sounds really awesome. And you have a pivot ankle. So all you people who are like, oh, Transformers must have ankle pivots. He has them. They work really well. This guy is so cool. His arms even move out. I didn't even mention that. He has so many joints that I am really impressed, especially of how complicated his transformation is, that there is this many joints to the guy. It's really, really cool. So, thing is though, we need some weapons for this guy. That's Star Saber. So we'll start off with the most boring one, the blaster gun. We'll just give it to him here, like this. It tabs into his hand, he can close his hand. He's got a gun. Let's get that out of the way. It's not really the most exciting thing. What I also have is the shield. Like I mentioned, that was the display stand. So you slide this blue piece out here, and you replace it with a shield handle here, and now he's got his shield, which is really cool because that's something that the original toy didn't have. That's pretty awesome. To my knowledge, he never released that for the original toy either. And to top it all off, he of course has the Saber blade. On the back here, we have this piece that came from Saber. Slide this up, open this up, and fold out the handle. It's kind of a tiny handle. And then you can open up the nose cone here, and in his back, if you flip up this little blue piece, you can slide out the awesome Saber blade. Not quite the gimmick of sticking handle in, pulling out sword, but you still get the sword storing in his back. And it's a lot more secure than the original was from what I've seen in videos. Now, officially, he holds it sideways like that, which is how the transformation works and how he's shown using it in the series. But if you want a more traditional grip, you're not going to get it with this sword because the handle's not long enough to get it to fit like that. So, there is a solution. All you gotta do here is fold away the built-in, more toy-accurate handle, and then bring in this piece. And this piece allows for a longer handle, a thinner handle, which means you can have it positioned like that, which is a more traditional sword pose, and that's really, really darn cool. So now you have a sword and a shield. What more could you ask for from Star Saber? Well, you can go ahead and give him the smaller Saber. His hands are properly sized, plus the handle has pegs to be held, so you can have him have a little knife version of the Saber blade, which is pretty cool. And other than that, there's only one other thing this guy can do that really does impress me. Let's have him drop his shield, because why not? We need to do a victory pose. And to finish off any attacking Dino Force or Breast Force member, with those added joints, he can actually dual wield the Saber blade. The end result is just plain badass. Star Saber is just fantastic. I really have to dig to find flaws with this guy. My only real complaint is the lack of storage for certain accessories. I really wish there was a way to store this little piece. I have not found a place on it. The instructions have not been helping. I haven't seen any videos that have shown a place to store it. This guy is fantastic. He is $170. That is the inexcusable fact. This guy is $170. That is the fact. If you like Star Saber, you will love this toy. And the thing is that even if you're not a fan of Star Saber, but you really like what you saw in this video and you want to own one, I'd recommend it. He is a little pricey, and if you get past that entry fee into the awesomeness, then you get to experience a great Transformer. And I'm really, really happy I got him. And overall, Star Saber is a must-have for fans of Star Saber and fans of Japanese Transformers or Japanese robots in general. I'm really happy with Star Saber and can't wait to see what Masterpiece does next. I say that as in not what they're repainting next. Anyways, be sure to check out HeroTalkie.com for all your Transformers news, reviews, and more. Until next time, saying goodbye.